I still remember the laughter, the sneers, the dismissive glances from everyone I loved and trusted. My family called it a foolish dream. My friends told me I was chasing an impossible pipe dream, that I'd never make it. Even my colleagues at the time mocked my ambition to start my own tech company in a sector they deemed too saturated, too risky. I felt the sting of every word, but beneath it all, a quiet fire ignited in me. I knew I was meant for more than settling into a mediocre job, more than conforming to expectations. So I took a deep breath, shut out the noise, and decided to prove them wrong. It wasn't easy. My savings dwindled as I poured everything into developing a platform that would stand out in a crowded market. I worked night and day, coding in the early mornings, pitching to investors in the afternoons, and fighting through endless rejection letters. The first year, I slept on a makeshift bed in a cramped apartment, eating ramen, fighting the gnawing doubt that maybe I'd gambled everything on a pipe dream. But I pressed on. I refined my product relentlessly, listening carefully to early users' feedback. I built a lean team of passionate developers who believed in the vision. Slowly, the tide turned. Our user base grew from a few dozen to tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands. Our revenue hit $10 million within 3 years, and by year 5, we surpassed 50 million. We attracted major investors and built a company valued at over $500 million, a feat that stunned even seasoned industry veterans. Throughout this journey, I refused to forget the relentless skepticism I faced. I used it as fuel. Every "you'll never succeed," every "it's too risky," became my motivation. When the critics doubted, I doubled down. When I stumbled, I learned, adapted, and pushed forward. Eventually, we gained recognition as one of the fastest-growing startups of the decade, earning industry awards and headlines. Our innovation disrupted the sector, and I was named CEO, an unlikely leader who had started from a cramped apartment dismissed by many. Years later, I returned to my hometown, walking into a familiar family gathering. The same relatives who once whispered doubts now looked at me with awe. I stood tall and shared my journey, details of the sleepless nights, the failures, the victories. I watched their faces shift from skepticism to admiration. Then I faced them directly. "This was my dream," I said, voice steady. And I refused to let others define what I could or couldn't do. Today, I stand here with a company that's changing lives and proving that the impossible is just the untried. They fell silent, some nodding, others with tears in their eyes. I realized then that every doubt I faced, every mockery, had only sharpened my resolve. I had transformed their disbelief into my triumph, rewriting my story from underestimate to unstoppable force. That's the power of perseverance. That's the story of turning rejection into resilience, failure into fuel, and doubt into